So I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I don't care. I'm sick of the color revolution. Um, so apparently, I had taken all of my accounts down, all of them, 2 days ago because I thought I can't stand any more of it. And then when I heard Trump and realized, oh my God, the Trump administration has embraced the radical right, I felt completely thrown. I felt betrayed. And I sent many emails letting them know that there was a deal breaker for me. I don't know why these politicians that become presidents embrace this radical stuff, whether it's on the left or the right, but you will never combat the radical left with creating a radical right. There was an article by a right-wing source that had said the majority of the White House staffers were tight with Kirk. Well, I realized that very quickly because with the many emails that I sent, every email that you send the White House, you should always get at least a reply saying they received it. After my first one, which I guess they weren't happy with because I didn't support the radical Kirk. I sent many more, and never did I get another. Well, one after like a bunch of them. What they do, they'll just push you into spam. You can tell because otherwise you should, within 30 seconds to a minute, you should be getting an automatic that it's been received. I wasn't getting it for not any of them after that. So then I realized, well, of course. I mean, that's all that matters is the White House staffers. And since they were friends with Kirk, to hell with the rest of America that didn't support his radical views. And let me just point out a couple of his radical views. He didn't think that women should be on birth control. Was he going to advocate for it? Well, no, not right now, but they did want him to be president one day. Yeah, they did. That was the plan. He didn't think women should be on birth control because it made them too emotional and too dangerous, too violent, excuse me. He didn't believe in abortion ever for any reason, none. He wanted a national abortion ban. He didn't think it was acceptable in the case of the mother's life being at risk, not for incest done to a child, not for rape. Think of all the trafficked victims. He called women that knew what they were doing, that had abortions, murderers. He was radical. He was more than that. He was deliberately creating a color revolution. For those that don't know, Gen Z overthrew Nepal. Yep, U.S. issues Nepal warning as Gen Z revolts. Now let me show you why they revolted. Nepal has been gripped by a mass youth-led protest after the government banned several popular social media platforms. While the recent protests were sparked by the social media ban, protesters said that they had been impelled by years of government corruption and failure to provide young people with economic opportunities. What has Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Bannon, every damn far-right radical lunatic on the right been pushing? That same bullshit. That's the reason I've done videos going after them for it. They blame the baby boomers. They were radicalizing the youth. That's why Charlie Kirk was all over these campuses. He was wanted because, for those that don't understand the color revolution is a Marxist agenda. All they care about is the revolution. At the end of the day, they don't care who gets hurt. They don't care what they do to anybody. They don't care who gets killed. All that matters is the revolution. And I think Erica Kirk showed that because she just put up a video. something that just was absolutely bizarre. And even people in the comment section were saying, this is eerie and bizarre, very eerie, very bizarre. But went on to say that nothing will stop Turning Point. I'll make it bigger than it's ever been before. Right, because the revolution, no matter who gets killed, must go on, because that's all that matters to the Marxist communists. Now, most of the young people in this country would say, he wasn't there. I know you'd say that. My nephew said it to me. My own nephew. If Kirk had his way, he would take women's rights away. He would. He hated the feminist movement. I did too. The thing that he never would say is he acted like that, women created this movement and they caused all this problem. Back then, women couldn't have done it without funding from men. That's the part he didn't want to tell anybody, because he had issues with women. He did. If you watch any of his dialogue with people, he was always very fair in listening to men, but very short, and he has issues with women. He just does. I've said it in videos. So, but this is what they were up to. Because Charlie Kirk had said it even recently on Tucker, and Tucker continues to fuel that same talking point. Okay, yeah, Charlie Kirk, how debt has radicalized young America and why baby boomers deserve the blame. That whole right, lunatics on the right push this same thing. Tucker does. Charlie Kirk did. Bannon does. All of them that have these millions of followers, they have monopolized the MAGA movement. Why Trump embraced it, have no idea. No idea. Just know that was like, I don't know how I'd ever trust you again, because that was the worst thing to do. This was another thing. Yeah, Charlie Kirk. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. So this is one of the things that I didn't like seeing a while ago on the right, is that the right would often say, facts don't care about your feelings. And I thought, okay, well, we can't get rid of feelings. I mean, to say that empathy is some New Age thing is bullshit, okay? We need to have empathy. We don't have enough people that have it, okay? But to say it's a New Age thing, the only reason maybe he's saying that is because, and I've mentioned this, but I would never say empathy is a New Age thing. What it was the media knew how to get the left by playing with their emotions. They would create fake empathy is what they would do in the left. That I hated that. But to say that empathy is a New Age thing is ridiculous. Look, the far left lunatics don't get The Handmaid's Tale. They don't create that out of thin air. It's because of the radical right. Because it was shocking to me that there was actually men that think along these lines, but they do, and they are on the right, and they're on the radical right. That think that women have caused all the problems, when really women couldn't have funded their own movement way back when it first started, the women's movement. It was created by men. It was put it this way, it was funded by men. Because women didn't have any rights. But he would never say the truth with that. So even though I know the Trump family and the Trump administration would see this as tacky, I don't care. I'm sick of the color revolution. Just because they decided to disregard the moderate part of the MAGA base and ignore us doesn't mean I'm going to stay silent. And you can go on and on about how great Charlie Kirk is. But he was absolutely doing a color revolution. I find it absolutely impossible to believe that Trump didn't know that. That's the reason he was amassing this young following. So, sorry if people think that's somehow tacky. I think lies are tacky in color revolutions. So, I think what class is saying the truth.